All I know since yesterday is everything has changed. Posted originally on the Archive of Our Own at https://archiveofourown.org/works/57144025. Rating: teen and up audiences. Archive warning: no archive warnings apply. Category M/M. Fandom: Bungo Stray Dogs. Relationship: Dazai Osamu/Nakahara Chuya Bungo Stray Dogs. Characters: Nakahara Chuya Bungo Stray Dogs, Dazai Osamu Bungo Stray Dogs. Additional tags: established Dazai Osamu Nakahara Chuya Bungo Stray Dogs. Pregnant Dazai Osamu Bungo Stray Dogs. Trans Dazai Osamu Bungo Stray Dogs. Pregnancy, unplanned pregnancy, parenthood, Nakahara Chuya needs a hug, Bungo Stray Dogs. It's Chuya's turn to have a breakdown. Self-doubt. He's worried about being a dad, he needs a hug, okay? Dazai typical suicide mentions, Bungo Stray Dogs. Implied reference self-harm, references to depression, rated T for Chuya swearing. Comfort, caring Dazai Osamu, Bungo Stray Dogs. Translation in Russian. Language, English. Series, Part 4 of Our Cinderella. Stats, published 2024, July 5th, words, 4,262, chapters 1 of 1. All I know since yesterday is everything has changed, by Yellow Symphony. Summary. Dazai goes back to work without a word, as if nothing about his situation has changed. It's not like you'd expect Dazai to suddenly develop baby fever, but the lack of any change is jarring, as if Dazai isn't worried, isn't even thinking about it. Which, to be honest, is kind of fucking annoying, since Chuya can't stop thinking about it. It's what he's doing now. Sitting in the fucking bathtub, of all things, hoping that'll make Dazai think he's taking a bath and leave him alone, with a box of shitty wine. He only bought the stupid thing because it's got a lot of alcohol and a cat printed on the box. Notes. Thank you very much to Glensmere for the Russian version. Parental Panic Chuya edition. Enjoy! Following the rather earth-shattering discovery that Chuya and Dazai were going to have an actual living, breathing human baby, Dazai, in his typical fashion, acts as if absolutely nothing is going on. Well, okay, to give him the slightest bit of credit, not at first. The 2 weeks or so after Chuya finds out Dazai is pregnant, they're on the grind immediately. Both of them have a similar mentality on such matters. When you're brought up on the streets only to jump right into organized crime, you learn that in crisis, there's no waiting around. First, they break the news only to those that need to know. That being Asai Edogawa, whom Dazai had already told, because of course the clever bastard figured out something was wrong. Yoshino-sensei and Fukuzawa, Dazai's agency buddies will have to be left in the dark for as long as possible. Ideally, in due time, Dazai would go on medical leave, and none will be the wiser. Hopefully. Dazai's been adamant on keeping this thing as much under the wraps as possible, and Chuya agrees. Both of them have too many enemies to afford being careless. Himself, Edogawa, and Yoshino-sensei, after hours of background checking, hacking, and spying, find a doctor that they decide is discreet enough and most likely won't sell any information out to Dostoevsky, the rest of the mafia, or someone who wants to see Dazai or Chuya dead in a ditch. Dazai gets properly examined for probably the first time in his life, and that alone takes several appointments. It's any and every test the OBGYN can possibly think of, having seen Dazai's disastrous medical history and hearing about his eating and sleeping habits. For a second, Chuya thought the poor one might have an aneurysm. They get what's essentially a lecture about everything that needs to change in their day-to-day life. Chuya takes notes. It's a fucking long list. He pins it to the fridge. Of course, Dazai is pretty much too traumatized to function when Doctor tries to examine him, so Chuya is left having to ask all the questions, remembering the do's and don'ts of everything, explaining to the poor lady that yes, it's normal, so she should get used to it, though even Chuya still isn't used to it, and he's the one who has to hold Dazai, sobbing after night terrors he always has after getting examined. Dazai never told him where all of that trauma comes from, but God have mercy on the bastard responsible when Chuya finds out. They start pulling money into a new, extra secure bank account. It unfortunately involves having to go through the tedious process of withdrawing cash several thousand yen at a time so it doesn't trace back to them, which is an utter pain in the ass, and Chuya feels the smallest pang of sympathy towards 18-year-old Dazai for having to do this before he bailed out of the mafia. The account is joint between the two of them, and in a fit of the foresight Chuya always sort of knew he possesses but has never witnessed, Dazai asks the bank person to set up a separate savings account with an interest rate that will, eventually, be designated as their children's college fund. Children, he actually says, and it makes Chuya almost choke on his own spit. There's a very awkward, emotionally heavy day that has them filling a trash can with just about everything Dazai could use when he'll inevitably end up having another depressive episode. It boils down to Chuya helplessly trailing behind a silent Dazai, who, one by one, uncovers all his secret hiding spots that Chuya somehow never found, full of things like razors, switchblades, sleeping pills, or other prescription drugs Dazai isn't allowed to have. The cherry on top is the fucking gun under one of the kitchen tiles, at the sight of which Chuya does actually pause to just hold Dazai for a bit and pretend he doesn't feel his own heart hammering through his ribs. They don't talk about any of it. not about everything Dazai uses to cut himself, or his supplies for future suicide attempts, nor about the antidepressants he has been taking for a year now, which also make it to the trash since they're unsafe for him to take during pregnancy. It's an unspoken agreement that they've had for years. Dazai can talk if he wants to, but he never does. And so Chia doesn't bring it up either. Is that healthy? Absolutely fucking not. But that's not something Chia is even remotely ready to address now. The flat that they have now is pretty much perfect. Chia himself is particularly fond of the tub, big enough so that they can both fit in it and Dazai doesn't have to bend his legs. But it's not 2 bedrooms only, one of which is an office, so it sadly has to go. After a few days of searching, they decide on buying a house. 2-story with probably too many bedrooms, but it's a modern, secure building that's sufficiently far away from the danger hotspots of the city. It has a beautiful back garden, and Dazai looks outright enamored when seeing it has a pond and spotting a little frog sitting on the edge of it, that he had named immediately. They wouldn't be moving in for the next several months, but it gives Chuya enough time to arrange for necessary renovations and commissioning the furniture. Dazai may not care about the aesthetics, but Chuya sure as hell does, and he will spend the next months making sure that the very fine line between modern and soulless is never crossed. All in all, they've kept themselves busy with all the essential stuff, and efficiently managed to work out pretty much everything they've wanted to. Chuya might curse Dazai to hell and back when it comes to his work ethic, but he can't deny that he gets shit done efficiently when it comes down to it. Roughly 2 weeks, and everything off their list has been crossed off. They've got another list as well, also pinned to the fridge because apparently they've become those kinds of people. But it's all things that, fortunately, Chuya doesn't have to think about for the next 4 months at least. It's been rewritten at least 10 times and argued over relentlessly. Thus, I wind unbelievably at the medical leave point, implicating that he'll have to sit at home all day, which is fucking rich coming from the man who comes in late every damn day. He then whined again when Chuya mentioned he'll need new clothes, seeing as there's no way in hell he'll fit into the ones he wears usually 3 months from now. Though, in the end, it was Dazai who ended up writing the final version of the list after Chuya found himself incapable of writing down the word baby, which, surprise, surprise, does feature a lot on to-do list creatively titled pre-baby. It hangs right in his line of sight, and he turns his head away from the door every time he has to open the fridge. Once there's nothing more to address, everything goes back to normal, as if the last 2 weeks hadn't even happened. After the initial bout of morning sickness stops being quite so violent, it's still very much there though, unfortunately, Dazai goes back to work without a word, as if nothing about his situation has changed. He never mentions anything in conversation, or texts, or calls. There's nothing. It struck Chuya sort of as if he just decided to conveniently forget that he's pregnant. It's not like he expected Dazai to suddenly develop baby fever, but the lack of any change is jarring, and as if Dazai isn't worried, isn't even thinking about it. Which, to be honest, is kind of fucking annoying, since Chuya can't stop thinking about it. It's what he's doing now, sitting in the fucking bathtub, of all things, hoping that'll make Dazai think he's taking a bath and leave him alone, with a box of shitty wine. He only bought the stupid thing because it's got a lot of alcohol and a cat printed on the box. There's no physical proof of it just yet, aside Dazai looking rough around the edges after throwing up 6 times per day minimum, but that's gonna change fast, and even without anything to look for, without the concrete evidence that something is indeed happening, Chuya's brain is in overdrive. It's the very first thing his mind conjures up whenever Dazai comes into view, whenever he speaks, whenever he sends Chuya some stupid text about whatever happened at the agency that particular day. Right now, his subconscious worked out a string of cause and effect that goes Dazai to pregnant to baby to time to bolt out of the fucking door and never come back. No can do, obviously. First of all, he's not an absolute asshole that would get someone pregnant and then bail. Second, he loves Dazai, and whatever. He does, God have mercy, he really does, but he's really not in the mood to be cute about it. And third, deep down, he really fucking wants a family. He'd never been naive enough to consider it a real possibility. Back when he was in the Mafia, Dazai was less of a man and more of a creature, shaped by abuse and Mori's cunning manipulations, from a hurt child to this numb, hateful, bitter killing machine. Chuya wouldn't choose to have a family with someone like that, even if a part of him believed that it wasn't all that there was to Dazai. He's infinitely better now. Dazai isn't good, per se, but he's doing better, now that he's got the freedom to be his own person and an actual support system in place. But it didn't seem right to consider it still, even after all those years. Asking Dazai to plan something that far ahead seems cruel, when Chuya knows so damn well how hard it is for him to commit to something a week ahead, yet alone months or years. Try as they both might, Dazai's depression is a demon that will always be there, looming over his shoulder. Chuya helps as best he can, and he never wants to force Dazai to make promises that seem impossible for him to commit to. It was, ultimately, Dazai's decision to keep it, and Chuya would never question it. He knows Dazai damn well. An overthinker, a schemer, a strategist. He must have thought it all through, all the possibilities and hardships, and still decided it was worth it to go through with it. Chuya wouldn't dare take that choice away from him. He's scared, though. Because here's one thing. Chuya loves Dazai, so much it seems impossible sometimes. And he's so fucking worried that this isn't something Dazai can realistically handle. Yes, in all the years he's known him, right now is the best Dazai's ever been, mentally. But Chuya knows he'll inevitably spiral back. Hell, it's already started happening because he had to stop taking medication. And that, Chuya is thinking as he's taking yet another swig out of that stupid cat box wine, is fucking stupid as shit. He doesn't exactly understand why antidepressants are bad for pregnant people, although Dazai's doctor did try explaining it. But technology and medicine are advanced enough that someone should have fucking come up with a safe alternative for now. Dazai is on heavy-duty shit, so that does complicate things, but no fucking way it's that impossible, right? He should fight finding a lab and throwing money at the people in it. Stressful things are bad for pregnant people. Being depressed is stressful as shit. Where is the solution to that? Another thing he's absolutely fucking terrified of? In roughly 7 months, he, as in him, Chuya Nakahara, 22 years old, mafia executive, halfway to drunk on boxed wine in his own bathtub, will be a father. He doesn't know how to be one. He doesn't recall his own family, having been yanked from them right after birth, then be locked in a lab, escape, run a literal gang of orphans, only to fall in love with a runaway and get roped into working for the fucking mob. How the fuck is he to know how to raise children? Sure, he's handled responsibility of people's lives on his hands a ton of times before, but this is so much more. It's a life completely in his hands, a new person that will be shaped by everything he does. And Chuya knows how easy it is for parents to fuck up a kid. Exhibit A, Chuya thinks bitterly when he hears a knock on the bathroom door, which he ignores. Chuya doesn't know the whole story of who Dazai's were, but he knows enough. Dazai ran away as a kid, as young as 12 years old. His family was old money, traditional, and completely shitty. Once, when very drunk, Dazai let it slip he was betrothed to some guy 10 years older than him, and that his entire childhood he was groomed to be some businessman's housewife. The next day, Dazai had not so kindly threatened Chuya with bodily harm if he ever mentioned it again. Not an ounce of affection shown from his parents, Chuya bets. It's kind of clear seeing how fucking touch-starved Dazai is and how attached he is to some people in his life now. Show him a bit of genuine love and the bastard has an aneurysm. It's sad. It's awful. Dazai is still fucked up because the wrong people had a kid and didn't bother to give a shit. How was he to know that he isn't the wrong kind of person to have kids? Chuya, comes the wine from outside the door, complimentary with now more incessant knocking. Chuya takes another swig of the wine. If you need to throw up, do it in the other bathroom, Chuya yells back. What if he says something wrong and the kid hates him? What if he gives their kid anger issues like he has? What if they'll be depressed like Dazai is? Dazai, speak of the devil and he shall break into your bathroom, appears then, arms crossed and frown in his face like that's meant to do something stupid like make Chuya feel guilty about being drunk at 8 p.m. on a Tuesday. Joke's on him though, Chuya is a terrible person and will probably be a terrible dad, and he does not feel bad about the wine that spilled on his shirt. I thought someone, Dazai drawls in a way that makes Chuya's head hurt, loud and annoying, said he wouldn't be drinking anymore, Well, too fucking bad. Chuya grumbles back. What do you want? For my husband to tell me why he's drinking, and why in the bathtub, no less. Dazai quips back. Fuck, he knows that Chuya hates when he answers a question with another question. It's fucking annoying. Dazai perches on the rim of the tub, resting his back against the wall. Inevitably, Chuya's eyes drift down to his stomach, still seemingly flat with his shirt, but he bets if Dazai were to raise it, there'd probably already be a bump. And fuck if that isn't terrifying. He's too slow in drawing his eyes away. By the time he's looking at Dazai's face again, Dazai's got that expression on his face as if he can read Chuya's mind. Ah, is that it? Chuya crossed his head to the side, eyes narrow. He tensed up just so slightly. Weird. Maybe Chuya would connect as to why if his thoughts weren't sloshing around his head like blobs in a lava lamp. Is Chuya practicing for the role of an alcoholic father, Fuck off, he scoffs. And he does drink too much, doesn't he? He swore it off when talking with Yosuna the other day, since Dazai can't drink and Chuya felt it's the least he could do. Off to a great start, breaking promises before the brat is even old enough to look more like a person and less like a dinosaur fossil. You should probably ease off on the swearing as well, is Dazai's only reply, voice as lighthearted as ever, and doesn't that piss Chuya off even more? How come Dazai is so cool and collected when Chuya can't shut off all the thoughts in his head? How does he just not worry about the biggest change of their entire lives? You should ease off of being a pain in my ass. I was worrying about my dear husband called being a pain now? Shut the fuck up, as if you ever worry about anything, Chuya hisses. You always act like everything happens just the way you want. How come you're so fucking calm about this? Dazai stares at him for a while before he lets out a dramatic sigh, stands up, and yanks away Chuya's now almost empty box of wine. Hey, he starts to protest. Dazai doesn't seem to care. He's outside the bathroom before Chuya can even crawl out of the tub. Vaguely, Chuya hears the sounds of wine being poured out and then thrown in the trash. When Dazai comes back, Chuya is uselessly slumped halfway over the tub, failing to make his limbs cooperate with him. Dazai takes mercy on him and helps him out, only to dump him on the floor. Chuya glares at him. Dazai, as if talking to a toddler and not a drunk, adult, sits down next to him. At enough of a distance so that they don't touch, but Chewie can still pick out the minor details of his posture. He curls on himself just a little bit, fingers picking at the bandage on his right wrist. At first, Dazai begins. He's not looking at Chewie, but instead on the tiled floor. When I took the test and saw the results, I thought... He cuts himself off a moment, nails digging into his arm. Chewie would stop him had he had any hand-eye coordination right now. I wanted to kill myself. Not like usual. It was this awful, immediate, intrusive thought that I couldn't get out of my head. I thought about jumping in front of a train because there's no chance I'd survive. That's all I wanted for a moment. Chiga's mouth is uncomfortably dry, and his heart is hammering against his ribs so hard he can feel it in his throat. Then why'd you not? He asks quietly. It's not them that made me want to die, Dazai clarifies. It's not even the pregnancy thing, as awful as I know it can be sometimes. It was... I don't consider myself a good person. I barely consider myself a person on a good day. How can someone like me ever do anything good? How can I make sure they turn out good when I've never been good a day in my life? How dare I? Worst of all, what if they turn out like me? What if just by doing this, I'm cursing someone? Chi wants to say something reassuring, but first there's cotton in his head instead of brain cells, stupid freaking wine. And second, Dazai looks at him. Finally. He's smiling, just a little bit, head tilted and eyes soft. But then I thought about it, and it's yours. Then I started thinking about you, and about us. How you've made me a better person just by being next to me. I thought if there's at least one good thing that would ever come out of me being still alive, your baby, our baby, might just be that. I'm fucked up. You're not that put together either. Chia protests, but Dazai just rolls his eyes at him. We're working on it, no? And there's people that help us. People I trust to make sure we don't fuck this whole thing up. Chia tries, eyes getting uncomfortably wet, and he aggressively tries to blink the unshed tears away. Are you sure that you want it? You are asking now, after we bought a house and told 3 other people? Samu, Chia presses. Being pregnant's gonna suck, probably. It already sucks, so yeah, I know, Dazai chuckles. But, you'll have to eat like a normal person. You can't drink coffee. Your body will hurt. You'll probably feel dysmorphic and depressed and God knows what else. And giving birth sounds like it's worse than being set on fire. I can't help you with anything, she whines at the end, voice finally breaking. It's barely been a few weeks of him knowing, but he's already spent so much of that time feeling utterly helpless. Watching Dazai heave into the toilet for hours on end, having to see him panic at the doctor's office, struggling to get out of bed, and he'll only get worse. For what it's worth, having you here is enough, Dazai tells him. And I'll absolutely complain about every part of the process at some point. I'm gonna whine and probably cry a lot. I've cried more this month than the past 2 years of my life, by the way, and you're gonna wish you never met me with how annoying I'll get. But it's all worth it in the end, right? So you're sure? I thought about it a lot, trust me, and I think we can do this. Dazai grins at him then. If you want to be helpful, I'll allow you to cater to my every whim and want. I've heard pregnancy cravings can be awful, so since my husband feels so bad about my suffering, I'll let him get me all the food I want, any time of day. You can give me massages and tell me you love me all the time and do all the housework. Right. Gio was a little too concerned about everything to remember Dazai is still Dazai. You can start now, actually. Dazai gets up, not even waiting for Chia to react before he's yanking him upwards. We can reinstall the no alcohol rule from tomorrow. How's that? Chia laughs awkwardly. Sorry, he mumbles. I'm just it's a lot, I guess. It's not that I don't want it. Chia, Dazai smiles at him. I know. We'll figure it out. There's not a reason why we make such a good team. Chia rolls his eyes, but he smiles back. Mind reader, he quips half-heartedly. And, Dazai adds, half dragging Chia to the bedroom, only to then fall into bed face first. I guess, I'm worried too. And scared. I don't like showing it, but I am. A lot. Getting into bed so he can hide his face, lest Chia sees him be distraught about the horrid affair of having feelings. I know, Chia says quietly, taking a seat next to him. Dazai's head automatically moves to lie across Chia's lap, his fingers running through the soft of Dazai's hair. Or, I guess I know deep down, but I don't know. You never talk about shit like that, and it makes me feel like you've got it all figured out. Dazai snorts. Far from it. I wish I could. I don't like talking about my feelings. Yeah, no shit. Dazai blindly swats at Chia and misses completely. Hush, I'm bearing my soul to you. You're not saying anything that I didn't know already. What I'm saying is, You can ask me next time. Daza continues, this time quieter. When you're scared about something, about this whole thing, I can't say I'll ever do it first, but if it helps you to know what I feel, we can, talk about it next time. And I know that's oversimplifying everything you were concerned about, probably, but we can talk more when you're not as stressed as you are. Chia hums, leaning back into the pillows. Look at how mature you're being, he jokes. Guess this might have a good influence on you after all. So Kunikita-kun can never know. What if he assumes I'm responsible now? God forbid. The next day, with the worst hangover he's had in a year, Chia takes another look at the pre-baby to-do list on the fridge. It's still overwhelming. It's still scary. But at least he's no longer overwhelmed with dread. He doesn't feel so lost. Sure, there's still the million-yen question of how to be a dad exactly, but he and Daza can figure it out together. When Daza stumbles out of bed and into the kitchen, with truly awful bedhead and pillow creases on his cheek, Chia is already typing away at his laptop. What are you doing? Daza asks, then draping himself across Chia's back to look at his laptop screen instead of waiting for an answer. Chia tilts the screen so Daza can see more clearly. What do you think? Chia asks him. Out of the corner of his eye, he sees Daza squint at the brightness. Is that... It's cute, right? I like the color a lot. Daza sighs, thumping his head against Chia's shoulder. You should go back to freaking out about this instead. Okay, you're just being a dick to piss me off. It's a onesie. We are not putting a baby in Dolce & Gabbana clothes, Chia. What is wrong with you? End notes. I don't know how much this particular one makes sense, but I like it. I wanted Chia to be the one having a breakdown this time, and I need to stop working on it because I kind of have important shit to study for, so there you go. Please drop by the archive and comment to let the creator know if you enjoyed their work.